Alright guys, welcome once again to my Steven Revisi-Verse series. Did say I was going to do more of these. After all, today we're moving from revisiting some of my old theories to revisiting some of my old thoughts on episodes, which is always, for me at least, typically more fun than the other. Like last time we discussed episodes, I don't expect to really pull any new theory ideas from these two, but unlike the last couple of episodes that we covered, I definitely feel like I'm going to enjoy revisiting this pair more than I enjoyed revisiting the last, because I haven't rewatched these two episodes 6 billion times. Actually, now I'm curious, how many years would 6 billion viewings of an episode of Steven Universe be? A lot. It would be a lot. So I haven't literally watched them 6 billion times, I guess. Just feels like it. Kind of, especially with Serious Steven and that stinking mural. God. Like, straight up, I don't even really remember many of the specific details of the first episode we're going to be touching on today, Tiger Millionaire. So I'm really looking forward to rewatching that. And there's the possibility that I'll get an inkling for a new theory in our second episode of the day, Steven's Lion. Because that is where we first encounter Lion, though I feel like I've theorized about him about as much as a person can. But also it's where we see the desert glass, which is an interesting gem. I'd like to see it in action again. It's going to be fun. As has been the pattern recently in these episode thought recaps, I'm going to touch on my reviews of the episodes first, so I make sure I don't repeat any ideas. This is another pair of short reviews, so it shouldn't take that long. But I'm going to alternate one review and then one episode, and then one review and then one episode. So let me go ahead and get out my headphones so I don't pollute the microphone audio with the speaker audio, and we'll move on. Definitely don't keep putting this in the video because I forget to do it before I start recording. This is definitely something I had planned out. And there we go.
Tiger Millionaire.
I like my hair in this one.
Bush here. Just fair warning, there will be spoilers in this review, not just for this particular episode, but for actually the very most recent aired episode of the show, so just keep that in mind.
That's intriguing. What spoiler for what was the most recent aired episode of the show at this point? I don't know, I could look it up. I don't care though. That's interesting though. I wonder what that spoiler could be.
And here we finally get our first little hint at what some of Amethyst's other traits might be, some of her weaknesses. Her insecurities, that's a better word for it.
Okay, so it was probably something to do with Amethyst's arc then, I guess, right?
Here in this episode, and the plot of the episode is pretty simple, as most of them tend to be. Amethyst does something irresponsible on a mission.
Sorry, taking a drink there. The plot of this episode is pretty simple, as the plots of these episodes tend to be. Man, I can't believe how naive I was back then. I've actually been considering going back and like straight up updating these reviews. I'm still not great at it, but I'm so much better at it now than I was then. It's utterly laughable.
Which, why does Beach City have an underground wrestling ring? We don't know. And she's not able to tell them why it is that she comes here at night and does this. So Steven tells them for her, because he's figured out what's going on. And they actually let her continue.
That's interesting. I wonder if I'm going to point it out here, but like, I didn't really think about that. The fact that Steven helps her out here, her development was tied to him supporting her through her development from basically the very beginning of her arc, wasn't it?
The Purple Puma is obviously a very memorable character.
Past AJ Stop Staring So Much in His Videos challenge 2K15. Holy shit.
She likes fighting. She wants to be allowed to fight.
My hair still does this thing right now.
Stems from the fact that Amethyst is a warrior gem. She was made to be a warrior gem, and maybe in the same way that Pearl is pre-programmed to like order and cleanliness, Amethyst is pre-programmed towards enjoying combat.
That's not a bad observation. It's one I'd kind of forgotten that I'd made, but that's not a bad observation that one of the reasons that Amethyst looked to fighting, a form of consequence-free fighting, as an outlet for her frustrations might be that she just is, she feels comfortable fighting because she's a quartz. That's interesting. That's an interesting thought. And yeah, that's pretty much the end of this one. So, yeah, frankly, what I said earlier about this episode being a pretty simple one is true. Like, it's got a very much let others be themselves kind of message to it. So I'm not expecting to have a lot to say in the commentary itself for the episode itself, but let's jump into that next. That's a funny reaction.
I'm going to end your reign of terror. No!
Yes! Completely forgot about that scene. That alone made rewatching this episode worth it. And I said it in the review as well. I'll just cut it out of the review portion because I didn't actually comment anything on it. I just kind of did one of those shrugs at the camera, right? But I want to comment on it here. I wish we'd seen more of the Purple Puma form. I know that part of Amethyst's arc was like not having to use it anymore because she didn't need to rely on wrestling anymore as an outlet by the end of her arc, but I still wish we had seen this as a combat form more often. It's closer to a standard size quartz form, and I get that part of Amethyst's thing is that she doesn't need to be the size of a standard quartz to be enough, right? But it still would have been interesting to see her consistently adopt a larger form when she was fighting, like a power-up transformation kind of deal. Because the Purple Puma form is interesting, and it's memorable, and it's dynamic, and I don't know, I feel like it was one of those things about the show that was interesting enough that we expected it to be utilized, and then it was very underutilized. Like, I'm a guy who really likes transformations. I like digivolutions. I like magical girl transformation sequence. I like morphing sequences. I think it would have been cool if one of these characters had had one of those.
Am I the cruelest creature on the planet? Oh, Steven. Those are just words people use to describe how they feel about you.
No, she's such a bad...
Listen, Steven. You
big
can't
sister
let
mom.
anyone make you feel like garbage. Is that how you feel? I only feel how I want to feel.
See, that's what I was talking about. Him supporting her through her growth really was always a part of her arc, wasn't it? They have such a... I know she's technically one of his guardians, but they have such a good sibling dynamic. Going back through the show, really thinking about it, looking back on the whole thing, they have a really good sibling dynamic.
Go back to the temple.
I don't wanna!
Ooh.
Don't do this.
Garnet's so cool.
That's why we're all here. To be wild and free. And body slam each other. And wear cool costumes. Can't we just have this? Can't we just wrestle?
No. Because we are the notorious Order of Wrestling Haters.
Such a bad liar.
That's right.
You know, for as brief as it is, this is a pretty good fight. The serious and the fun version of it. I'd forgotten that Lars had a part in this episode too. It's nothing like super special or anything, but it's noteworthy. I guess that's really all I have to say about that one. It's all I really expected to have to say about that one. It was fun. It was fun revisiting it. But, like, I mean, there's so much more to Amethyst's arc that comes later. That's... I mean, I could talk about that here, right? Because this leads into all of that. But then that would ruin me talking about it later, right? So let's move on to the next review. The review of Steven's Lion, which is shorter than the Tiger Millionaire review. How? Why was I so bad at this back then? As opposed to being slightly below average at it now.
Steven's Lion, the 10th episode of Steven's
Hey.
Lion, chronologically speaking.
Recorded this one the same day as the last one.
It's almost as if he was planted there to teach Steven about Rose.
Yeah, in hindsight, he almost definitely wasn't. The evidence is still there, though, and it bums me out that it never went that direction. Feels like a missed opportunity. Oh, hey, there's a love disc over here I can catch.
Which puts the Desert Class in that camp of really weird, corrupted gems that don't really fit with any of the other ones that we've seen throughout the majority of the series, and they're really weird, and I want to know what's up with them, but no one will tell me. Calming breaths.
Is that the first time I've ever played up being exasperated for a video? It might be. It might be AJ Universe history right there. This review is really boring.
When the lion somehow follows him home, even though he returned home through the warp pad, and the lion shouldn't have been able to follow him, which is actually a hint to one of the lion's later powers. And at first it seems like the lion...
It's true, that's a hint to one of Lion's later powers. But how did he know to come there? Because Pearl didn't know about him, which means Rose never brought him around the temple. How did he follow them there?
Isn't actually interested in Steven, didn't actually follow Steven. It looks like it followed the desert glass. And Steven and Lion team up to retrieve the desert glass so that it can be bubbled and stored, and this doesn't happen again.
That's another interesting detail that I haven't really thought much about. I'm always looking for a purpose for Lion, some reason why Rose specifically turned this lion and seemingly even trained it to a point. What if it's just as simple as she wanted something to stay there and look after the desert glass? Interesting. Because why else would it have gone to such lengths to stop the desert glass? Like maybe Rose used to take Lion with her to help take down troublesome corrupted gems back in the day? But why this one specifically? Because it even seems to know how to fight it and everything. Weird. This is all stuff that should go in the look at the episode itself, but I just couldn't help bringing it up because that's so interesting. Maybe I should have actually come back to this episode in context other than just whinging about the fact that Lion wasn't what I thought he was.
Lion definitely did have some kind of connection with Rose. We just don't know what it is yet.
We do now. Alright, that's enough of that one. Let's move on to the episode itself. It's already getting me thinking more than I expected it to, so revisiting the actual episode should be fun.
Water? So thirsty for water.
He's so melodramatic. Oh, look, it's a monster.
Good thing this column was here.
No!
No!
It's so weird that they tried to make Lion seem so sinister at first. Like, they do this later in the episode, too, after they've revealed that he's just a large cat, that he just behaves like a very large cat. It's odd. Like, were we supposed to think that he might be a threat to Steven? Were we supposed to think that Steven, a character in this cartoon for children, was going to be mauled to death by a lion? It seems, I don't know, tonally odd, if that makes sense. Also, I think the desert glass was straight up trying to get Steven killed there, boxing him in with a wall as he's being approached by a giant predator. That's kind of interesting. That is a funny transition, I guess.
I always wanted an animal friend, but I thought it would be like a goldfish.
It could still be a goldfish, Steven, since Lion is going to end up Connie's pet instead of yours. Apparently.
I taught him to say, I love you! I love you!
That's so sweet! I love you too.
Aw, Amethyst.
Get your hands out of that thing's
She
mouth.
seems so sincere.
Hold your britches!
See, there it is again.
I'm ordering for 2.
Steven's
I don't think so.
Lots of weird stuff happens in Beach City.
It does.
You'd know if you read my blog, Keep Beach City Weird.
Never gonna happen. Yeah, he totally does go after the desert glass, doesn't he? You know, this is a pretty creative action sequence. I like it a lot. Oh, come on, it's just sand. Yeah. Get it. Get that sand that Garnet couldn't break, but you can for some reason. That is pretty cool.
Are we really going to let him keep that?
We kept Amethyst.
Oh! Kept Amethyst!
That is a much funnier episode than I remembered. I don't really have anything else to say about it, other than what I said earlier when we were looking at the review. But, yeah, I do kind of wonder, though, thinking about the desert glass again, I've theorized before that the power set of the desert glass, and even the fact that it creates a pillow as its body, and therefore it doesn't seem like it's intended to move around much, right? Might be evidence that some gems are meant to create structures for other gems out of their holographic bodies, or else the materials around them once they form their bodies. And I definitely still think that theory holds up here. Like, I didn't see anything here that contradicted it anyway. I do wonder, though, I'm trying to think. Because, like, Sapphire can make things really cold and Ruby can make things really hot. But they don't, like, control fire and ice, right? Lapis, however, freely controls water. And this thing freely controls sand. Do we see any other gems that can freely control, like, not literal elements, but like fantasy-style elemental forces like that? I don't think we do. Maybe I'm misremembering something. It's an interesting thought. I wonder if there are any, though, because, I mean, lapises seem to exist, or they seem like they did exist, to carve out kindergartens with their water. And this thing, like I said a second ago, might create structures with its ability to manipulate sand. But would the Gempire need a gem that can freely manipulate, like fire, for example? I can't really think of a reason why they would. It seems like they're more for, like, close quarters, physical style combatants, right? Or else they'd use lapises as frickin' soldiers. So I can't imagine them having, like, a brigade of, like, flamethrower gems. And I can't think of a reason why they would need a fire manipulating gem for colonization either. If you guys have an idea about that, let me know. But, I don't know, it's just an interesting thought, I think. That this might be a gem, power-wise at least, that's of a similar class to Lapis. It might be the only other one. Also, I want to know, it's specifically the desert glass, but can it only control sand? Can it control, like, other earth as well? Can't imagine why it wouldn't be able to. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed revisiting these episodes more than I thought I would. Steven's Line is a genuinely funny episode, and I'd forgot how much it actually makes me laugh. And Tiger Millionaire, again, was worth revisiting just to see Ronaldo get clotheslined by Amethyst. So there you go. I think this was a successful Revisi-Versing. Is a thing I should never say again because that sounded really stupid. As per usual though, guys, I'd like to know, what do you think of any of the stuff we talked about in this video today? Did revisiting these episodes give you any ideas for any theories that I could steal for a video in the future? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below. And while you're down there, you might as well like the video, share it with anyone else you think would enjoy my content, and subscribe if you haven't. I'm trying to get myself out there, and I'd really appreciate it if you guys could help. You could also check out my social medias and links to the various different ways that you can help out the channel. All that will be in the video description. But either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.